What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and if you're enjoying the content here on my channel, then make sure you hit the like button and make sure you hit subscribe so you can help decide what direction the content on my channel goes in the foreseeable future. Okay. So on the whole, I usually try to keep speculation videos to a minimum. My channel largely focuses on comic books. I just kind of talk about comics, talk about how they, why they're important and the history of them and so on and so forth and what's going on at the time and, that kind of thing. For the most part, speculation videos are usually something that I leave to like Emergency Awesome, for example. Charlie's really, really good at that kind of stuff, and it's really informative and fun to watch his videos when it comes to, shows, movies, things like that. But I was thinking about the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was thinking about what direction things are going to go in following really the events of Infinity War and the second movie, which I'm going to call Infinity Gauntlet. For those of you guys who don't know, so far, or at least by the time the second Infinity War movie happens, concluding Phase 3, that means we will have had 20 movies so far that all just tell one giant cohesive story. Phase 1 was Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America 1, and then it concluded with the Avengers. Phase 2 was Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Captain America 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, and then it had Avengers Age of Ultron, and it ended with Ant-Man. Phase 3 was Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Spider-Man Homecoming. That leads us to right now, which going into the future is Thor Ragnarok, then Black Panther, and then Infinity War, presumably Infinity Gauntlet after that. Now with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we were basically given Adam Warlock. And the funny thing about this is that with the character of Adam Warlock, the idea here was that he was just teased. I mean, we just simply had this, sovereign race, which was just this really technologically advanced race who created Adam Warlock to be their perfect being. Now, for those of you guys who are not familiar with Adam, he's basically Marvel's space Jesus. That's really what he is. He's their Messiah. He wasn't originally that way. Originally, he was just a guy who was created by this group called the Enclave, who were enemies of the Fantastic Four. And the idea was that the Enclave wanted to basically take over the world and use technology in order to do it, and instill this kind of technologically perfect world that was governed and run explicitly by them. The Fantastic Four ended up fighting the Enclave. Adam Warlock appeared, battled the Fantastic Four for a while, took off, battled Thor, and then took off into space. And that was really about it. His really big claim to fame came during like a story called Counter-Earth. Well, it was a handful of stories, but that was one of the most notable ones. He faced off against the High Evolutionary, this guy that's super smart with genetics, basically evolved his own physiology, giving himself virtually godlike powers, which eventually led to Adam Warlock being crucified and then being resurrected. But during that whole thing, he got the Soul Stone. So that's really where that whole concept with his character comes from. Going into the 1990s, Adam Warlock got his biggest claim to fame as part of Infinity Gauntlet, which we'll talk about that here in a minute. But I would surmise that Adam Warlock, as we know, is going to appear in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. The question is, in what capacity will he exist and what role will he play? My argument is this: Adam Warlock will appear in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I also think Adam Warlock's going to appear in the Infinity Gauntlet film, and here's the reason why. When it comes to the Marvel Comics and the Infinity Gauntlet story, Adam Warlock was a rallying point. Adam Warlock was the guy who basically organized the superheroes' attempt to defeat Thanos. Now, of course, it didn't work. He wrecked the absolute hell out of him because he basically was wielding the power of the universe. I mean, it was crazy, how powerful he was. But Adam Warlock was the rallying force. He was the guy that was behind the lines saying, you do this, you do that. He organized all the cosmic entities, different things like that. Now, if the Sovereign race in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 were the ones who created Adam Warlock, and the Sovereign race are considered to be the most advanced race in the Marvel Universe, or I guess the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it stands to reason the Sovereign know everything about everything. Now, if they are an extremely knowledgeable group of people, then they're most likely governed by logic as opposed to emotion. And that was the indication that was given to us in the movie. I mean, we saw instances where Aisha would get angry, she'd get upset, various members would be very irritated with others, different things like that. But all indications are given to us that they are just a highly advanced race based more on logic and reason, science, different things like that, than like religious concepts. And so the idea here is, in my mind, Adam Warlock will emerge in Infinity Gauntlet. Adam Warlock may initially fight some of the superheroes, who knows? But Adam Warlock, being governed by reason as the perfect being created by the Sovereign, would look around and say, okay, the universe is in jeopardy. The only other thing that I can think about is that at the time Adam Warlock is released, the original intention of Aisha is to basically defeat the Guardians of the Galaxy or something along those lines. But with Thanos wielding the Infinity Stones, with Thanos basically pushing the universe to the edge of extinction, maybe he blinks out half the life in existence and the sudden shock of energy energy wakes Adam Warlock up, out of his cocoon. Any number of things could happen. Adam Warlock will emerge, he will observe the scenario and say, okay, the universe is in danger, somebody needs to rally the superheroes. Now what this will do is it'll lead to probably his encounter with like Vision, and Vision will inevitably say, hey, this guy's legit, this guy's cool. Or maybe Adam Warlock will be able to pick up the hammer of Thor and prove his worth. That seems to be the method that Marvel's choosing at the moment. If somebody's unsure whether a characters are a good guy or a bad guy, we'll see if they can lift the hammer. If they can pick up the hammer, they're worthy, so they're not all that bad. I mean, we found that out with Vision in Age of Ultron. Adam Warlock emerging means that he would basically be the rallying point. He would look at Doctor Strange, and much like the comics, he would say, okay, Doctor Strange, you are going to be the ferryman. You're going to be the guy who's going to create portals that are going to be able to, allow superheroes to teleport between Earth all the way over to wherever it is that Thanos is at during the Infinity Gauntlet film. You're going to be the one casting the spell so superheroes can breathe in space. You're going to be doing all that stuff. You're going to be the supporting character. He's also going to look at like Captain America and say, you are a genius when it comes to like field tactics and combat and so on and so forth. You're going to be the guy who's going to be leading the charge on the front lines when you're facing off against Thanos. I'm going to be the guy who's going to be back here watching it all and telling you what you need to do and how you need to change tactics and so on and so forth. I'm going to be the mastermind behind the whole thing. And that stands to reason, because again, if the Sovereign are this genius level race that have basically imbued Adam Warlock with knowledge on everything that's ever happened in existence, then it makes sense that he would say, I'm the best person to go to in order to decide what direction we should take, because I'm not governed by fear or anger or anything like that. Now, following this, the story would likely end in the defeat of Thanos. I mean, keep in mind, the Infinity War film, the first film, is probably just going to be Thanos showing up on Earth with the intention of taking the Mind Stone away from Vision. It's probably going to be the last stone he needs to get. And that'll probably just be the entire basis of the conflict. Everything that we'll see in Infinity War will likely be Thanos using his powers minus the Mind Stone. When the Mind Stone's put with the Infinity Gauntlet, that's when the true power is unlocked. And that's when it's like, oh my God, we weren't even really fighting him at full power. That's when things are going to pop off. So that'll really just be Infinity War. But with Infinity Gauntlet, what'll likely happen is the film will probably follow the comic, in the sense that Thanos will just grow hubris and, arrogant because he's like, oh, I have absolute power. He'll make himself one with the universe. And in this moment of being stupid, effectively, Nebula will grab the Infinity Gauntlet and she'll be the one with absolute power. Thanos will have to work alongside the Earth superheroes in order to defeat Nebula. Adam Warlock will take the gauntlet and he'll just be like, let the conflict end. To me, that's what I think will happen in those films. Now, following this, the question is, what role will Adam Warlock play? Following the Infinity Gauntlet story, there was a story called Infinity War, which is actually kind of ironic here. In the movies, Infinity War is coming first. In the comics, Infinity War came second. The difference here is Infinity War in the comics was a totally different story from what you're going to see in the movies. Again, the Infinity War movie will be Thanos coming to Earth. It'll basically be the comic book story when Thanos showed up on Earth looking for the Cosmic Cube. That's basically what's going to happen. Replace Cosmic Cube with the Mind Stone of the Vision, and there's Infinity War. Now, what happened in the comics is that following the events of Infinity Gauntlet, Adam Warlock took the Infinity Gauntlet and then was brought before the Living Tribunal, the judge of the multiverse. And the Living Tribunal decreed that Thanos' goal was to basically take the place of Eternity, the most powerful being in the universe, the representation of the universe. The Living Tribunal said, okay, every universe has its own Eternity. Thanos was just taking the place of that one. It's the order of things. Those who were too weak to maintain their roles will be cast aside for those who are strong enough to replace them. That's just the way the world works. The weak make way for the strong. With Adam Warlock, it wasn't that way. Adam Warlock was governed by reason and logic. What Adam Warlock didn't know is he actually purged his evil and good personas, and so he was basically just this neutral being. But Adam Warlock looked to wield the power of the Infinity Gauntlet alongside Eternity, which basically would have made this imbalance of power. There can only be one absolute powerful being in the universe at any one particular point in time. And so because of this, Adam Warlock was instructed by the Living Tribunal to disperse the Infinity Stones. What also ended up happening is the Living Tribunal had a B plan. Living Tribunal said, okay, I am the second most powerful being in all of existence. I judge the multiverse. I'm more powerful than the Infinity Gauntlet. And so what the Living Tribunal did is basically make it so that even if Adam Warlock went back to Earth and tried to use the Infinity Gauntlet, nothing would happen. The stones would never work in unison again. And so because of this, Adam Warlock formed what was called the Infinity Watch. Now, the Infinity Watch was basically a group of people who were all given Infinity Stones, and they were basically told to safeguard those stones. They were a loose-knit team. For the most part, they fought side by side in various conflicts, things like that, but the the overarching idea was that they could disband, they could go off and do their own thing, have their own stories, and presumably their stories would feature them using whatever stone they had. Now, the idea was that Thanos was one of the people who got an Infinity Stone. He actually got the Reality Stone. But Moondragon, the daughter of Drax the Destroyer, was a member of the Infinity Watch. Pip the Troll, who's a character that we haven't seen yet in the movies, was a member of the Infinity Watch. He actually shoved his in his rear end, I think. It's really kind of messed up. But that's basically the role that Adam Warlock played. He was the focal point of the Infinity Watch. He led this team of people whose goal was to safeguard the Infinity Stones. Now, the reason why this happened was because in the comics, Marvel wanted to put the Infinity Stones on the back burner. They didn't want to get rid of them forever because they were like, hey, look, the Infinity Gauntlet is this wildly powerful story. People love seeing super OP characters being faced off against by what's, this hodgepodge group of heroes who are just doing the best they can despite getting absolutely wrecked. We want to make sure we can use the Infinity Stones later. The Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to be taking the exact same approach. At least I imagine they would. I doubt they would go the Jonathan Hickman New Avengers route where Captain America gets the Infinity Gauntlet, tries to use it, and the stones explode and they all basically disappear and they're gone forever. The reason behind that is a whole nother kettle of beans, and that'll be part of our whole Marvel cosmology thing. But that seems to be the direction that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going in, and that's the direction I see Adam Warlock going in. I see Adam Warlock debuting in the Infinity Gauntlet film. I see Adam Warlock being the guy that corrals all the superheroes together, at least what's left of them, and has them face off against Thanos as best they can. I see Adam Warlock being the one to bring the conflict to an end, and I see Adam Warlock being the one who forms the Infinity Watch as part of Phase 4. And you could even call it that, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 Infinity Watch. It makes sense to me, if they end up going that route and doing that thing. But I'm kind of curious about where you guys, stand on this. What are your all's thoughts? I mean, do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? I'd love to know what your all's thoughts are. It'd be interesting, to see what you guys think about this kind of thing, because everybody has their own theories on what role Adam Warlock will play. Information right now is scant, so it could be in 6 months, this video is totally irrelevant. I have no idea. The people are just like, nope, everything's wrong. I have no idea. But if you guys are new here to Comics Explained and you guys enjoy this video, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys dug this, make sure you drop a like. And yeah, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And I will catch you all later. Peace.